Hello, my dears. Daniela here, and welcome to another episode of the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast. I hope that you've been enjoying Publicity Month with us and have some good ideas for how you can get some publicity and some exposure in your business. Now, if you're still waiting to take action, I believe that the guests that I have on today's episode will motivate you to do so. So this is their third appearance. For the third time, I've invited my dear friends Jared and Alana Mitchell to join us. And they're going to be talking today specifically about how publicity helped them become serial entrepreneurs with multiple seven-figure businesses. But what I love about them so much and why I've asked them to be on so many times is because they really come from humble beginnings. Now, if you haven't listened to the first episode that we did together way back, do that. We've got it linked up below this episode, but you'll see how their entire dream began on a napkin while eating a hot dog at Costco. I'm not kidding. That was like one of my favorite stories. So when Alana first went out on her own, she was a solo esthetician, and in this episode, they're going to actually share a story about how her first exposure to publicity in just like a small local magazine in her town got her recognized and, most importantly, got her clients. And she continued her career and eventually started her e-commerce site, Skincare by Alana. And she and her husband, Jared, have continued to use publicity and PR as an integral part of their strategy in all of their businesses. So now, years later, Alana's working directly with Amazon, doing some stuff with Amazon Live. She's been on Yahoo Finance, KTLA, and just numerous other publications and shows. So get ready for a great episode. And if you have any questions, be sure to head over to the Spa Marketing Made Easy Facebook group. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and play that episode. All right, Jared and Alana, I'm so happy to have you for a third time on the Spa Marketing Made Easy podcast, more than anybody else ever in the history of our show. You guys are awesome.
We're super flattered. Thank you.
Wow, that's cool.
So I wanted to bring you on today specifically to talk about publicity, because you guys, if you haven't listened to the previous episodes that we've had with Jared and Alana, they are serial entrepreneurs in the spa industry. They have a spa, they have an e-commerce store, they have their own product line, they're launching a new necklace. There's so many, which we'll talk about here. If you're not watching the video, watch the video. But we'll talk about all of these things and how they're connected to publicity. Because this entire month of March, we're talking about publicity and how important it is in any type of business, but it's, in my opinion, so underutilized in spa. And I know that you guys use publicity quite a bit in all of your different, is it one business or do you just have separate businesses with the spa, the e-commerce? 3. Okay.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, we have a nice infographic chart for
it's complicated,
because it's
but
confusing.
the lawyers understand it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's good. Yeah.
But in all 3 of your businesses,
Yes.
you're using publicity to bring awareness, which one of the greatest things about publicity is that it can be free. I mean, sometimes you have to pay for it, but a lot of time it primarily costs you the time and energy to go out and do the work and put yourself out there and pitch and all of those things. But the opportunities that it can bring in are just tremendous.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we like PR. We do think it's very important to have PR as a part of your plan, your marketing plan. And if you can have a budget to spend money on it, we've got some tips and tools for that.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to tell you kind of how we got started, because sort of the story behind there will, I think, give people a lot of information for how they should get started and probably save them a lot of money and time.
And I think that's something everybody, right? Those are the 2 things. If you can help someone save money or time, then it's good. So cool. So how'd you guys get started with publicity?
The first, and I don't even know if you remember this because I had to go back through our financials, but we were recommended by an e-commerce consultant about 7 or 8 years ago, hey, you guys should do some PR. Elena's got a great film presence, a great voice, and this and that. That was before I ever got on a podcast or like in front of a camera or something. And I was like, great, let's do some PR. And so like we found this local PR group and we were paying them monthly for PR. And that's all we knew. That was it. It was like
you
kind of
find someone and you pay someone and they do things for you.
And it was
right.
Yeah,
that's the idea.
Isn't that how it works? Like, and yes, we are serial entrepreneurs, and now we know what we know. But essentially, that relationship was just a complete loss. And what we found out,
we learned a lot.
is basically what they were doing in their version of PR was essentially outreach to mommy bloggers and getting us links on website, which is good. It's good for SEO, it's good for awareness, and it's good for PR. But I think when we all think of PR, we think of like television.
More in the spotlight, right?
Like in the spotlight and this and that. So the first thing that we want to bring up,
in media,
you kind of hinted on this, Danielle, is what is PR? And why are you doing PR? And where are you going to shine in the PR realm? Right? So, like, as far as what is PR, you were talking earlier about Amazon Live, which not a lot of people know about yet, surprisingly. And it's my opinion, this is just my opinion, but Amazon isn't doing that great of a job at it yet. So there's a lot for them to figure out.
Yes.
But it's going to kind of be like Amazon's home shopping network, if you're not familiar. Amazon corporate, the big corporate.
The machine, Amazon, yes.
They contacted Elena because they saw us broadcasting live there. And now we're working directly with them to put out content for Amazon Live.
And do some tests for them as well.
To me, that's PR because we're on video, we're building branding, we're getting a lot of awareness and putting Elena's face in front of people. And our strength, we figured out early on, was really Elena has just over the years, and it's taken practice, but gotten really, really good at video and at speaking, right?
Thank you. I hope I've improved on it. I feel like I have a lot more to improve on that I want to, but yeah, and I was not comfortable with it at first. Like Jared really had to encourage me to do it. I'm more comfortable on the operations and the behind the scenes and the real business side of things. So to be a promoter is really me out of my comfort zone, and I really had to push myself, but I'm glad that I did because I am more comfortable now and I enjoy it. And that was also my mindset. I needed to shift my mindset, and I'm glad that I did because I see how valuable it is and I really do enjoy it. And I need to promote my brand, and what better way than doing it PR? In person,
So you brought up an interesting point. So when you talk about like what is PR, what is publicity, this is, this can be being on a podcast. This can be being on your local news station. This can be in a magazine, on social media, Facebook Live or whatever.
Yes.
But
I always like to say like brand awareness. Like I think if people think of it as like brand awareness is like getting your name and face in front of new audiences, and entirely paid or non-paid is like all of that is PR.
Yeah.
But when let's talk about your e-commerce store specifically. So and if you hear background noises, that's just kids because we all have kids.
Yeah. Kid has a fever, you bring kid with you to your office.
So when you were looking at like, all right, we've got this e-commerce store. How are we going to gain publicity? Because for those of you who, aren't familiar, you guys are the owners of Skincare by Elena. It's a incredible e-commerce site. You guys built it to 7 figures in a very short period of time. You're doing incredible things with it. I think that's a dream of a lot of estheticians.
Yeah, we learned a lot about it.
How can we take this? How can we have an e-commerce site and take it to the next level? And they think it's like, oh, I can just do this. But in reality, it's a whole nother business. And so when you're looking at like publicity opportunities for something like that, how do you decide what's worth my time and what's not worth my time?
Yeah, definitely set a goal.
Yeah. So great question. the why are you doing PR? I mean, for us with the e-commerce store, it's the awareness pillar of advertising. And that would be our main why. And so we just looked at our strengths, what she was good at, what I was good at, and we defined what PR and brand awareness meant for us. Elena's strength is video, face-to-face, speaking, things like that. I'm more like, let's get some guest posting going and like, let's contribute to some trade magazines, behind the scenes type of guy. And we went with it. And we figured out ways to create exposure and build authority. And the key here is, and I think what we're all touching on is like, you have to be open-minded around what that means to your business. So basically, you can't just think of Amazon Live as some platform that is not going to bring you exposure and new clients, because it can. Like, don't be closed off. So first define what you're good at and what outlets you want to pursue. And then let's start talking about what sort of media you actually want to be on. So for us, and I think for any e-commerce store, our whole spiel is like, you have to build a ladder. Have you ever talked about that at all? Do you even know what that means? Because we didn't.
Bill,
we learned that.
Well, let's go into it. I know like ascension models and stuff like that, but let's talk about building the ladder.
Yeah,
that was super important that we learned for PR. And so this applies to any business, e-commerce, anything.
Yeah.
Your brand, if you're a speaker, anything like that.
So for us, building a ladder was something that we had to learn. And by the way, I listened to your podcast yesterday. It was awesome.
Thank you.
It was the 5 free PR tips. That's like the 5 free ones that I would have taught, Yeah. So part of what you were teaching yesterday is building the ladder. So for like an e-commerce store, for example, what you have to realize is that any sort of PR outreach that you do, they're probably going to use the Google machine to look up your online presence.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If they do, and you have a fully built out knowledge graph and your Google front page looks like amazing, and you have all these hits on magazines and different outlets and different blogs, it's going to be a lot more motivating than if you're going after like TV shows and Good Morning America right at first, and then they Google you and they like can't even find you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if your goal is to get on Good Morning America, you can't start with Good Morning America, unfortunately. You have to start someplace else and you build upon that to then get to Good Morning America.
So how we did it, this is how we literally started, is we started by contacting our city newspaper. That was it. And in general, just for opening a business in the city,
they will put an article out for you. Yeah.
And these days, that also means they'll feature you on their online website if you ask them, which doesn't sound all that great. I mean, there's a little bit of awareness, in the city.
I honestly, for local spas though, like I think there's a lot of ego-based stuff like, oh, I need to be on, Good Morning America or be in this huge magazine. But the end result is like, what are you trying to do? If you have a brick and mortar spa,
right,
and you're trying to get local people into the spa,
you need the local magazines and papers. Exactly. I had so many people that recognized me and came in and they saw my face like, you look like a nice girl and I liked what you said in the article. And we live in a cute little beach town, and I had like my customers were, in their 40s and above, and it was perfect. And they would come in, and I got so many clients from those articles in the little different magazines. It was really cute. We had it framed for a while. It was a spa with a smile, because I had this big smile on my face. So it was very engaging and connecting. And it's local. They wanted to know, who is this person going to give me a facial? I did. I got so many clients, and I didn't pay anything. They just took my picture and wrote an article.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Free is good, man.
Free is good. So that's a starting point.
The ladder, we gave, as you were saying, Jared, we gave 5 different ways that you can get free publicity in last week's podcast episode. So be sure to check that out. But I think that really looking at on your ladder, thinking about removing the ego from it.
Yes, absolutely.
And then looking at what is actually going to move the needle in my business?
Right.
How are local people in my area, unless you're doing a nationwide e-commerce store, then, but it's like, what is the end result? What are you trying to get to?
Yeah. What's your goal? Exactly.
Well, I mean, and you know what? We should probably say this again in case there's some new listeners, but we started in a 70 square foot day spa room. So we're going to start by telling you sort of what we did at first.
Take a drink.
And don't worry, we'll get into the e-commerce-y stuff really quick. But we started with those local media outlets, and that included a lot of the local magazines and local influencers and local mommy bloggers. And it was so much easier.
It is easy.
And you know what? I find that the influencers or the like micro influencers, the 5 to 15,000 people, are the ones that actually have much more engaged audiences.
Yeah.
And, everyone's like, oh, I want to go with someone that has 100,000 people on Instagram.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that, you're going to get a return. Look at their engagement. Absolutely.
You can use tools like mightyscout.com for free to actually type in an influencer and figure out if they have a real following or not. It's kind of useful, right?
Yeah, it's really cool. You can see that.
What do you mean the people that hire that have fake followers that buy followers or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can see their engagement.
Because
it is, but we don't recommend it. I think it was more successful, and you could have gotten away with it 5 years ago, but it is very much all the experts, and I agree, I preach against that. And the new stat is you actually are losing followers quicker than you're gaining followers. People are really quick to unfollow now. They're quick to follow you, but they're even quicker to unfollow you. So if your account is growing, it's growing even more than you see it statistically, because so many people are dropping off. And this came from a really good source. So,
early on, Instagram actually motivated people, in my opinion, to do some of these shady things. Yeah. And one of the main things that you might already know is I actually don't know if this is still the case, but you used to have 10,000 followers to do swipe to click in your stories, which is one of the best ways to sell product over Instagram.
It still is.
Yeah.
And that was our goal. We made a goal. We did a lot of efforts to get 10,000. And so now I'm at 11.2.
So building a ladder, you've got your local foundation. And also now that if you're going to reach out to some of those more nationally syndicated magazines or e-zines or TV shows, or even the local TV shows, when the producer Googles you, they're going to see some substance there and some momentum. And it's way easier to get picked up on some of those things that you were talking about yesterday if you have that. And that's why you touched on that. I mean, you said you got to really build out your profile and the page on your website, the PR page. And that's so important. And you can syndicate it on social too and be getting more and more clients from it at the same time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The producers to take a change, if you're not really well known and you've got nothing that's shown you've had done anything, producers at a local, a bigger, I'm going on KTLA, and I have been on KTLA, but I didn't start there. I started at the local newspapers, and then she showed me, and she kind of tweaked a little bit of information, and then she got and build upon it, where then it was Yahoo Finance, and then KTLA and KTLA again. And then the doctor show's interested because they've seen me on other platforms. And then I did Digital Live, and she's got the Amazon Live to show me. And producers want to make sure if it's a live audience that you or recording, you're not going to choke. Your experience, freak out. I mean, I got thrown into that first KTLA, and it was, oh my gosh. They were like, we're going to do teasers. I'm like, great, awesome. In my head, I'm like, I don't exactly know what that is, but I'm just going to go with the flow,
cool.
So I was up there waving my product, they have the go, next we're going to talk about skincare. And I'm like, just standing there like an idiot for 20 minutes, up there waving my product up and down. And so now the KTLA producers already see me on it. So it was really easy to book the second one. Oh. It was done in so fast. So,
and I think also I feel like I'm just talking about this over and over and over again, but the importance of using Facebook Live or Instagram Live.
Yes.
Because that, even if you're just starting out, if you can get comfortable talking on video.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
a producer can take that first chance on you if they're like, hey, I see you and I see that you're comfortable speaking. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody has to do video, right? Like if you're a very good writer,
Exactly.
100%, like there's lots of opportunities to write in different industry journals or magazines or whatever. Like you can do it that way. You've got to know your strengths.
Yeah, I just was at a seminar or a women's event, WXWEX, and the woman started this event and she started herself as an author and writer and blogger and speaker. So she is like not even in the beauty industry. And I loved going to it because it got me outside of my beauty industry. But that was what they were talking more about, was really the writing sense. So it definitely can be done. And she had to do it. Her name is Alexa Rose, I want to say Carlin. And she talks about that. But anyways, that's an example of someone who started as a writer who got rejected so many times. And she made her own event and had 5 people there to hear her speak just so she could start something. And she did the same thing. And she built and built in this past 4 years. And she just spoke at a big Cox event. And she's put on 3 different women events. And I was there in LA and it was 1,000 women.
Oh my gosh.
Is awesome.
Yeah, the power of persistence. Like,
yeah, so she
in something
talks about that from a writer's perspective, and it worked. She made it happen. Alexa Rose Carlin.
I would say 3 tips that I would throw out there once you've sort of gotten started on the PR stuff that will really help you is it's definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And prepare to get rejected. Honestly, like celebrate your failure and realize that like there's going to be a little bit of that in there. So you kind of have to put, as you say, our big boy pants on and like
my big girl pants,
pants on. And like you have to be methodical and have to have sort of a plan. Currently, we are having our assistant send out a lot of our pitches. So if you have someone working the front desk, it could be a thing that they can do, you know, when they're sort of having some downtime, and you just kind of want to keep at it.
Make little goals. Like a goal is to send out 3 pitches a week, and you kind of get in the groove and the motion. And the more you do it, or your assistant or receptionist, the easier each week. And it just starts to become part of your regular schedule, and you will get bites eventually. You will get bites. And our encouragement would be, respond quickly. So with PR, and if you get any bite, they're looking for quick response. So don't think you have 24 hours. If you get that email, you respond right away. And they say, like this, was it last week? They said, hey, can you come Thursday? It was Tuesday up to KTLA. And then I said, we committed to a date, and then they changed it. So also know that also changes. And then the producer said, no, I want you to come next week. I was like, okay, fine. You have to be flexible.
So is that what you were saying? Be prepared to get on a plane?
Yes.
So number 2 is get ready to get on a plane because once you get going, and they'll change things. And then also last time we did KTLA, we showed up, we had the full script, the full plan. And we showed up and she's like, we're just going to change half this. And Elena's like,
oh, great.
And our PR gal that happened to arrange that relationship, and we'll talk about that later, she says, oh, yeah, it happens all the time. Just go in there and act like you've been doing it for 400 years and you'll be fine.
So you guys can all go see my KTLA interview on YouTube and watch it. No, that was my first time ever on KTLA, and know that they completely changed things. That woman I'm talking to literally walked over 5 seconds before it came on air, said, hi, how are you? Introduced herself, turned to the camera, and then started reading the screen. It was really nice because there was like, you look into the camera and then there was all the text. So
teleprompter. Yeah, the
teleprompter. Thank you. You know that word. Words are hard. Words are hard.
Yes.
Really good live. And so, and then there was like a timer and this and that and and I got done and I thought, was that a disaster? So I'll also say that I learned a lot from it. One is it's never as bad as you feel like it's going. It's usually going better because people's perception of you is not always the perception you have of yourself. Mm-hmm. And when you're talking and you're live and you're doing things, I always feel like I'm talking really fast. But when I go back, and I always go back and watch myself because I am looking to get better and I want to improve. And I go back now and I look at that KTLA and I thought, and Yahoo Finance. So I did that interview. I'm like, Yahoo Finance, that was my first. I needed to be so much more peppier and upbeat. And because I was so concerned about saying professional that I was like, monotone. No one wants to listen to that. And then at K2LA, I was like, oh my gosh, I could have talked almost twice as fast. And I felt like I was talking so fast. So be flexible, be prepared.
The third tip is, I think, related, and that is, and this is like the secret sauce, our secret sauce of PR that I'm giving out right now for free. But like the best PR you can do is in person.
Mm-hmm.
For most of us, we're in the beauty industry and we're presentable. And if you really want to get featured with that influencer or on that blog or on that TV show, you might consider figuring out how you can arrange meeting that person that you're pursuing in person.
Like going to events are really good. Seeing if there's local influencers at events or like this. I met so many women at this women's event, connected.
Yeah.
And they had a whole event just on networking, which was awesome.
It brings your success rate with PR from like 25% literally up to like 90%.
But isn't that it's like all about relationships, right?
It is.
Like we met online, but then we met in California, right?
Yes.
Like you guys came down and now there's just a whole different relationship because we had wine together, we talked together, it's like a different type of connection,
Yeah.
And I think that when you're wanting to support other people or create business relationships, it does help to have that underlying real connection and not just like, hey, I want to promote my business. How can you help me?
Yeah,
exactly.
Which is kind of yucky.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, absolutely.
First connection. Yeah. First is you got to have that connection, and you make the most of your PR opportunities. So that's a little, So like at KTLA that morning, I had no idea, but the big R. Kelly story was breaking. And we're in what is that? Is it called the green room?
We brought a bunch of products. We didn't know if we'd even get to hand it out to producers, to whoever else, but I was the guy that like walking in, like sweating with like boxes of lotion,
Yes. I couldn't afford to sweat that day.
But we made give it out.
So we did, and we happened to, Jermaine Dupri was there, and he's a musician, I believe producer, rapper, and songwriter, and his assistant was there, but she wasn't an assistant. She was actually one of the producers on the R. Kelly documentary, Surviving R. Kelly.
The one that won all the awards and stuff.
Mm-hmm, Tamara. And we just started to connect, and we're talking, and she had kids. Well, now she posts my pictures she loves the products and she posts them all the time on her Instagram. Like she loves my lip gloss and she loves my eye cream, and she's just a sweetheart, and we've connected on social media, and I love all of her posts because she also represents the things that I'm passionate about and I care about, which is, women's equal rights and making sure women have a voice and going to events and encouraging them and speaking. So that was an amazing connection that we made, which could ultimately be a better situation and connection for us, quote unquote, business wise, than even that just one KTLA, appearance.
Right. Yeah. That's that. You never know what opportunities are going to come knocking.
Yeah.
Cool.
And handing out products to the staff. Even if it's a camera guy or whatever, like making sure they all have the product, because the second time
I gave it out to the makeup team, they came in. I was like, here you go.
The makeup people, there's some makeup.
They're like, oh, what do you have? I'm like, here you go.
In LA, that's secret sauce right there too. Make sure you bring products for the makeup people, because most of them, especially if you're in LA, have like tons of followers.
They're legit makeup artists.
They're doing movie stars the next day. So I'll always bring it or send it, and they'll always post about it.
They love to post about it.
Yes. That's good. So let's change course for a second here and talk about that necklace, because you guys you have a new product that you're launching, which I think is really cool. So I want to hear about the product, but I also want to hear your PR plan behind this product, because I think it's neat to hear from the beginning, like, what are you guys going to do to take this to the next level?
Yes. This necklace I'm wearing, if you can't see it, it's on a gold chain, and it's a stone roller. So imagine the beauty facial stone rollers, the small end, on a necklace.
So the most important thing, I think, and I can't believe I didn't go into this more, but when we're building a ladder is like, if your pitch isn't like awesome and unique and like real and captivating, including the title, the title's got to be really good.
You might want to add that to one of our classes and courses. Here is your pitch outline and do's and don'ts.
Yeah, and that's what Neil preaches too. And he's so right with any article that you're putting out. It's just so all about the title, bringing people in, getting the click, getting the notice.
What's that about? I want to read that. You always trying to get them to read the next line.
Yeah, and that's really, I wouldn't really even start building a ladder till you kind of hash that stuff out. And so that's what we're working on with the roller right now. And what we realized is the story behind it was much more powerful than we thought. And truth be told, I don't have the full PR plan mapped out.
I know,
yet.
I'm putting you guys on the spot.
Yeah. No.
It's even launched or anything.
No.
Actually,
it's launched. The PR's not launched.
It's right there. So I'll just kind of read what we've got so far. But what we realized is we have a 10-year-old son who's on the autism spectrum. And he likes to hang out in the bathroom, as he says, not in a creepy way.
Not in a weird way at night when I'm getting ready. So kids on the spectrum often have some sleep issues, and he can't go to bed till at like 10 o'clock. So Jared and Eli are passed out asleep, and he will usually, after reading books, will come in and hang out. And that's actually the time where he'll talk to me the most. So I really look forward to that connective time with him, because during the day, he's got too much going on. And so he'll talk with me, and he'll like to fidget and touch things because he's got ADHD as well. And he's kind of always like moving. And so he saw me with my facial roller one night.
The stone roller,
my stone roller facial roller, excuse me. And he was like, that's interesting. And so he kept like spinning it and touching it and playing with it. And he goes, hey, Mom, what if you put this on a necklace and you could wear it during the day and you could have it on your face? Like you could use it on your face or to relax, or you could spin it, because he used to have a necklace that was called a Chewy. And it would be soft on the end. It would have like a shark tooth or a Batman emblem. And it was meant and designed for him to chew on it when he would get anxious or nervous. And he has sensory processing disorder. So sometimes in social settings can be a lot. He's really grown in that area and learning. So you're always looking for ways that they can socially be quote unquote like acceptable and normal, but still kind of help them in their anxiety. So I started wearing the prototype, and then he would come up to me and start like playing with it. And when I was in line, I started to take it off and just give like a little massage on his back to help calm him if we had to wait in line. Sometimes he would take it from me. And so then I'm like, wow, this is a really cool tool for him to use when we're in public and be accepted like socially, where he's not wearing that Chewy necklace because people be like, what's that? And get germs, and it's a little embarrassing. And he knows that. He's very, very conscious of himself in the world, and he knows that he's different. He's high functioning, yet he still has those things of being autism that he has to, kind of cope with day to day.
So he wants to be an inventor.
Yes.
And so, we hear a lot of product ideas, and we have a lot of our own. And in general, you come up with something and you Google it, and there's 400 million.
Remember, he's like, let's do a smoothie delivery service. I'm like, good idea. They already have those.
Dad, I got an idea. Let's make a jar where you can put tea in it and leave it outside.
Yeah, we're like, yes.
He invented iced tea.
We're like, he's like, oh, they already do that? We're like, yeah, but you didn't know that. So good job.
So just random stuff. It's so cute. But I happened to Google, because we've been selling stone rollers for a long time. I happened to Google stone roller necklace, and there was nothing. And I was like shocked. And I'm like, it's a pretty good idea. It'd be fun just as a family to go through the process of inventing, because I don't have any patents. I've never done that. We have a good attorney that can help us get one. So we literally researched all the major platforms. I couldn't find anything like it. And we hired our attorney to drop a prototype, and we worked with our factory, and it was like we achieved the patent pending status, and it was like crazy.
I think it's granted. The patent is
in China and in the USA, which is important.
Yes.
And so we've been hush hush about it until now. But the reason we're telling you all this is not to promote our product, although we love free promotion, and that's the whole point of this podcast, right? But it's more so like the process that we come up with the pitch. So for us, if you've been listening, you can hear a pretty powerful pitch coming through.
It's a good story.
And essentially, that's what we're going to roll with. I think the headline's going to be something like 10-year-old boy with autism creates ingenious new patented skincare invention just in time for Autism Awareness Month, which is, by the way, in April, right?
Yeah.
So
what I think is, I mean, we all have stories. And I think that's something that's like, oh, well, I don't have a kid with autism, or I didn't invent something, or what's special or unique about me. But if you just go a little bit deeper and we think about, as estheticians, what are we doing for our clients, right? It's so much more than just giving a facial. It's the confidence. There's just so many, you can go so deep with the changes that you're giving someone the confidence to be a better mom or go after a job or do whatever. You're creating this experience. There's so many women who do like free events for oncology patients, or they're focusing on skin cancer, or they're focused, whatever. Like there's just so much more that you can go deeper with.
Yes.
To find what your story is.
Yeah. We all have a story.
And the necklace too, like, I mean, I love that it's this family piece, but I also think you're going to have this whole, like, estheticians love esthetician stuff, whether it's like t-shirts or whatever.
I know.
They don't actually use it as like whatever. They're like, oh, well, I'm an esthetician. You know, it's like that conversation starter, which is really cool.
That was actually my first purpose. And I thought, oh, this will be, instead of I do faces pin, you can wear this necklace, because I don't really feel comfortable with that pin. And I was never a huge fan. I was like, I don't know about that pin. So I was wearing it, and I've been, kind of testing the market, and then we had it at our first trade show in January. And it catches so many people's eye, and I'm in public. It's really an opportunity. One, if you don't have a special needs child, that's fine. This is still a conversation starter. On Saturday, I was, again, at that event, I was talking about WEX, and there was a actress comedian speaking, and her name was Kim Coles. And I really liked what she had to say. And I just wanted to come up and tell her thank you. And she had like a great, free, book about how to tell a story, being a storyteller, which is one of my goals, to become a good storyteller. And right when I come up, she goes, "Ooh, I like your necklace. Wait, that looks like my stone roller. And they've got them now on necklaces? That's so cool that they're making them." I said, "Well, they're not making them. Me and my family are making them." And she goes, "What do you mean?" And she had just started a necklace collection about love. And so she was like, "Oh my gosh, I love that. That is so cool." And then I got to share about the autism part. And then, oh my gosh, my nephew has autism. And we didn't have to. Next thing you know, she's like, "EJ, give her a card. We're going to connect with this girl." And I didn't have to do much, but it was such a great conversation starter. So you can really take the conversation any way you want. I mean, I could have gone to facials and, I use this, I have anxiety and I'm an adult and I use this to calm myself, or I'm in the car when I need to think, I walk around and spin the roller. So there's so many ways. And that's what probably makes me most excited, is that estheticians can use it. Moms can use it. You can just have it as a jewelry piece. I love it. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah. Gosh, what I was going to add to that is she ended up posting about it too, and she's got a big following.
Kim did? Oh, I didn't know if I saw it.
She totally did. All these things sort of work together when sort of like transitioning to the e-commerce approach. Whenever you're getting these hits online.
Yes, okay, you can watch that.
We're telling our kid it's okay that he watches Ninja Warrior, which is a kid's ninja obstacle course show. So when you get mentions on social media, when you get mentions on television, when you get mentions on Amazon Live, and people go to Google and they search in your brand or your name, one thing that Google really likes around your spa brand or your skincare brand or even your personal brand is branded searches. If it sees people are searching just for you, and not searching for like a specific product and not getting there through like a link or this or that. Just searching Google for you. It's going to give you more love across all of your media, all of your websites, your Amazon store and everything. And that's a big secret that people don't know. And if you want to check if people are searching for you, for free, of course, make sure to check out Google Trends. It's a really free tool that you can use to see if you've gotten some PR hits in the past, if they had helped you with branded search. When we did KTLA the first time, our sales on Amazon, I think, doubled or tripled within the next week.
I think that's the hard thing about PR you're touching on is it's sometimes hard to get data directly with your PR efforts related. So you really have to look at it as a big picture and see, like, we have a baseline for all that we're currently doing. And so if we know that baseline and we have a PR hit happens and we see sales improve, because sometimes it's not like there's a link on KTLA where they can go and type in a code. Like I can't always track that. But we know our baseline, and then it kind of dropped off and it was like, and we saw that happen a few times. So we do know that the PR has improved our sales.
Yeah.
Based on the baseline and then the peak and then the drop off.
So when do you get to the point that you transition? So you said now you have a PR person.
Yes.
But when you started out, you had a PR person. That was a big waste of money.
It was.
So
when do you get to the point that it's like, okay, I can do this myself. I can bootstrap it. And when do I need somebody that's truly a professional to help?
So to clarify, I'm going to answer two of your questions at once, I think. With the stone roller, right now I have our assistant sending out pitches to magazines because Autism Awareness Month is coming up. So magazines and TV outlets, okay? So there are still some things that we will always do in-house.
And reach out to influencers.
Influencer outreach. And anytime we have a chance to meet someone in person, that's the preference, And so then the other part of it is once your ladder's pretty built, you're like halfway up your ladder, I recommend, okay, now it's time, I think, to find the right PR firm.
Yes.
For us, that was someone that could really help us with TV. And yeah, it starts to cost money, but if you're doing PR right, you're probably making more money at that point and can afford it. And I think it's probably like twice as easy. I mean, she's already got the relationships.
Well, yeah, she does. She has relationships. She's paying for her time, but the relationships and she, kind of selling me and building the ladder, but it's been pretty easy for her. We also gave her, we told her what outlets we did and didn't want. And we gave her a budget and we all decided on once a quarter, a good one solid TV show type hit, like a KTLA. So then she's given us some free things along the way that she's like, oh, here. And they've been great. But if we're going to spend our energy and time, we gave her a very conservative budget, but she's been able to do this. So I don't really like the whole... You'll find there'll be a lot of people that'll charge a lot of money, like easy $1,000+ each month. And if you're just getting the link building, we don't think that's going to be as useful to you as someone who, like Jared said, is building your ladder to get you to that KTLA and tell them this is my goal and this is where I want to be. Let's build that ladder. And if they aren't if they're not giving you stuff after 2 to 3 months, that's going to help build that, then they're not a good PR team.
Yeah, if they're just going to get you there quicker. You're probably going to need a budget of at least $2,000 to $5,000 a month or something. But like we said, if you've built that ladder, you probably have the budget at that point. And it's just a matter of, okay, do I want to spend the money to get there a little quicker? Well, for us, it just made sense and it made all of our efforts easy. And the right team came in and they took our current relationships. They're like, oh, you know her, so-and-so at KTLA. We know the producer. So we're going to use that current relationship that to mention to the producer. That's what it
was. Liberty Chan, one of the weather personnel, she somehow got my products and liked them and started posting them. And we featured her on a blog post, a picture. She's really into yoga. And so we had a blog about yoga and that. And so she was like, what do you have? What do you have for me? So we told our PR person, I'm like, well, there's this girl at KTLA. She does weather. She likes my product. And she's like, oh, I'm going to use that. So she totally used that as an in with the producer. Liberty Chan wasn't working that day that I was there at KTLA, but hopefully this next time she is and I can connect with her. So she totally used it and got me in that way.
So where do you think, and I don't know I don't know what the answer to this is, but I'm a big believer in Facebook ads, right? I think that there's a lot of power in paid digital advertising. If from your guys' experience, let's say you have $2,000 a month to spend. You think it's a better choice to spend that on PR or to spend that on paid ads?
Well, it really depends on what sort of media you're promoting and what the cost is. I mean, when we started doing Facebook ads, we were paying like 5 cents for full video views. And now it's like a lot of money, you know? So I guess what I would say,
really good video view.
yeah.
You keep video view ads.
If the media's quality, you still can, right? But I think for us, it's a good mixture of the two, and it really just depends on the piece of media. Like for the roller necklace, we've created a video with our son where we're explaining the product, and I think that it could have some virality potential. And you betcha we're going to post that on Facebook and promote it and put some money behind it, as well as YouTube, which is really underutilized and a little cheaper at this point as well.
So it depends.
2000
is the answer.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the type of media. Yeah, it really just is, you know, I could answer for the roller necklace, and I think we're going to give it a go on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and some other lower tier networks. We're finding a lot of the lower tier networks are starting to open up video ads and no one even knows about them. And they are dirt cheap, like 1 or 2 cents a click to quality audiences. So, don't think too small on the video advertising and the promotional push you can put behind certain types of media. And don't think that Facebook and Instagram are the only way. I mean, we were at Google this last
week, I think it was.
Up in LA, and it was just mind blowing what YouTube is doing right now.
Yeah, it's
Very
Google
cool.
and then YouTube, second most search, like a search engine as a search engine. People go to Google, and the second is YouTube, which I only use it as like DIY, but a lot of people do it for
how to pop a
I
zip,
use it
whatever.
like product reviews. That, like they have 2 billion, a lot like official users that have accounts, and there's 7 billion people in the world. So there's a lot of people on YouTube.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love, and when I talk about social media, I say Facebook and Instagram, but then I always also add on YouTube and Pinterest because of the search engine capabilities.
Yeah, they're talking about the algorithm. They actually told us, it was interesting because we had tried some YouTube advertising, and so me and Nicole, who's part of our marketing, our head of our marketing department, and me and her were talking, and we had tried it and it didn't quite work as we hoped. And so I'm like, let's go and talk to Rishi. And I'm going to go talk to the man that works for Google, that this whole reason they want us to be here is they want us to spend money on YouTube, right? So I asked him, he said, how much money did you spend? We told him, he goes, you basically, if you want to advertise on YouTube, you need to be willing to commit to a $20,000 a month budget. That's your minimum. So he told us that, and he was like, if you don't have that in your budget, then he said, don't do it until you can, and just, post things there. And we're like, oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Better than us kept putting, thousands of dollars if we knew like the minimum was 20,000 recommended.
Because there's still a lot you can do organically on YouTube and Facebook.
We're like, great, we're going to do that. We're going to keep doing that.
Video has virality. Yeah. I think Elena had a sign language video that went viral, and then it got removed. People were offended by it somehow, but it didn't matter. It was, I think, something like
learned a lot from
a
it,
million views and like 400 shares before they took it down. And we didn't pay a cent to push it. It was crazy.
Well, I want to be respectful of time. So we just came up on our time. So any last words or any last bits of advice that you want to share with our audience about PR before we say goodbye?
I have a few. Do you?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think get ready to work. When we got hired to do Yahoo Finance in New York, it was great because we got to fly there without our kids. But what they don't tell you is we had the chutzpah to set up 8 desk side meetings with
I
magazines.
think that was when we first met.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, we're in New York. It's crazy.
It was snowing. It's cold. We were like so pumped up though. We were like, yeah.
So like we got there a day early and we spent the entire day. It was an 8-hour day running all over New York and handing out free products and meeting with people at magazines. And we didn't have to. We could have gone and done the tourist thing.
Yeah.
But I think part of it is having the chutzpah and being willing to do the work and thinking outside the box. And PR builds
all those
PR.
We brought I have a box, a kit, and I wrote a handwritten note too. And it was like, I'll go into this girl. She's got interest before you have an email. Hi, I'm in New York. Because sometimes you can get a desk side real quick with the editor, and they'll be like, oh, sure. And they'll talk with you. And then next thing you know, you got an article in a magazine with a little, blurb about your product and they met you. So that's what we were going for. We didn't quite get there, but I'm glad that we did it. I learned a lot. Like we went from like a tiny little office to literally the Empire State Building, trying to figure out how to get in there. And eventually got up to like this newsroom to hand it. And it was like security. It was just crazy, but it was such a cool process to learn and figure out that's like, this tiny magazine to this huge magazine, and like what you had to say and what I had to do, and basically looked like I wasn't, giving them any like anthrax. Hi, you skincare? See, I can show it to you. Do I look like someone who have anthrax? No, it's just skincare.
It was great.
Dropping off skincare.
It was great failure to celebrate because I think we might have gotten a hit or two from it eventually.
Yeah, I agree, did.
Now, if we go back and when we do that desk sides, we're so much more prepared.
Yes.
And we know how it works. And we know it's normal to send the weird shirtless shipping guy down to pick up the products to take it to the place it's going.
Yeah, the editor.
And
sit on their desk.
Sort of what to say and how to talk to the receptionists to let that, them bring you by and all that. So it's cool.
A process.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are awesome. I love having you on the show. Do you want to let everyone know where they can find you and follow you if they want to stay in touch?
That would be great. So on Instagram and Facebook, it is Skincare by Alana, and Alana is spelled Alana. Also, I have an Instagram account for Alana Mitchell, the brand that I'm going to be building out as I started the e-commerce part, which was Skincare by Alana, and then my own skincare brand. So now I get to build out that social platform of all of that following and build that. Let's see. In YouTube, we just changed the name as well to Skincare.
It's on my list.
It's going to be.
We're on YouTube.
Alana Mitchell. Yes.
And we're on Pinterest, and I don't know.
And Pinterest.
Well, you guys send us the links. We'll put them below the video.
Awesome.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. Love having you on. And this has been super, super valuable information.
Awesome.
Thank you so much,
Thanks
Danielle.
for having us.
Bye, guys.